Hi, Alan. Thank you so much for being here with us and for taking the time to generously share what you're up to.
I'm delighted to be here. I'm flattered that you asked me. Thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. And
Welcome.
we want to get started by asking you if you could share. I know you have a lot of kids, so if you could just share maybe the range of age, or if you want to go one by one, totally up to you. Their names as well, if you can.
Sure. There are too many to name individually. We have 5 kids, ages 16 down to 7, and boy, girl, girl, boy, boy.
Awesome. And you guys are where in the world?
We live just outside of Austin, Texas, in a town called Dripping Springs.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you again for making the time and to get us into the mood of just connecting about, kids and parents, and especially in these moments living together. It feels like we have kind of traveled back in time to when the three of us were kids. So what would be that experience with your parents that comes to mind that was really meaningful to you?
Back from when I was a kid?
Yes.
Oh man, you're putting me on the couch here. Let's see. There were so many great things growing up. It was a simpler time, and I just remember, I have one older sister, and I just remember our family doing things together, staying at home, playing outside in the yard. Life seemed a little less frantic than I think we make it for our kids now with all the driving around. And my wife and I were talking, this feels like a return to simpler times.
Yeah.
We're all playing more board games. We are being creative out in the yard, and we're just being together. And it's been, as horrible as this is for so many people physically and economically, it's been a real blessing for us to just slow the pace down.
Yeah, I can totally empathize with that, because just running the other day on the street, we see people in the front yard reading, neighbors kind of, playing together, keeping their distance. But yeah, it feels like we have definitely traveled back in time. So
yeah,
lots of positive things I think will come out of this. And I know that you have been creating really amazing things for children over the past few years. And I would love for you to share with other parents the things that you're doing, that you're creating, leveraging the outdoor space and maybe now reinventing yourself into a more virtual space. But yeah, what are some gifts that you can offer?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll just tell you quickly the story about kind of how we got into what we're doing.
Yes.
But my wife and I, it's kind of a funny pairing. She is an education expert, and I come from a kind of the entertainment industry and the toy industry. So I used to direct commercials and, all sorts of, I do the fun stuff. She does the brainy stuff. And so when we get together and we talk about things to do for our kids, she's really good at structuring really great, enriching stuff. And I try to make it fun. And so one day, this was several years ago, people they'd be calling Heather and asking her, you're this education expert, all the great stuff. What should my kids be doing over the summer? And thanks. I'm live broadcasting, so let me help in a second. We have all the kids at home right now, like everybody, so we're all...
We all do, no worries.
So she would get questions like, what are the tools that my kids should be using? And she came up with this great playlist, Khan Academy, Rosetta Stone, Typing Club. Let's help our kids over the summer stay sharp with all of this. And my response was, that's so great, but I don't want to have to nag the kids about this. One more thing to nag them about. So what if we created something that was so irresistible that the kids would be begging us to do it? And what would have to go into that? And let's start with, maybe there are decoder rings and a contest and a prize. And as they move along, it would be there would be some elements of video games where there are short-term wins for some progress and then a big prize at the end and middle wins. And we could kind of make a game board. And what if we just created this program? And that was how Brain Chase was born. And we started Brain Chase to keep kids sharp over the summer. Summer learning loss is a well-documented issue. And so we thought, let's make a program that kids are begging their parents to do. And it kind of snowballed into this great, now there's this story where the kids who sign up for Brain Chase, they're enrolled in the Grayson Academy of Antiquities, and they're looking for buried treasures around the world. And there's this whole element of mystery too. There's a missing adventurer, and as you find different artifacts, you can start to piece together the puzzle. So what happens is we make this online game board, and the kids do their electives, whether it's reading, writing, or math, or coding, typing, yoga, whatever. And they advance through this game board, and they unlock new animations that tell the story of these treasure hunters and this missing artifact. But the fun part, of course, is that it's not fiction. There's a real buried treasure somewhere on the planet, and all of the clues to its whereabouts are hidden in the animations. And so they go through the puzzle, and the first kid to guess where the treasure is, we put their family on an airplane, and we fly with them around the world to Mount Fuji, Japan, to the south of France, to Oslo, Norway, and we give them a shovel, and they dig up this golden mechanical treasure and a $10,000 scholarship. And so that's kind of this magic where the kids are like, Mom, I really want to do math today. And that's what gets them doing it. You know, there's this big prize at the end. So that's what we started. We've done about 20 different treasure hunts now with treasures all over the world. And this spring, with everything going on, you know, we've been starting to gear up for our summer program that starts in June. And we started to get a flood of emails from parents saying,
yes, I was about to ask.
Yeah, brain chase help. We're stuck at home. What can we do? And so, you know, I talked to my team, who's all virtual now as well, and we said, let's turn one on next week. And so we scrambled to turn on a brain chase program. It's live right now, and registrations just pour in every day. And we're not going to be able to fly anyone to the treasure this time, but we do have a gold nugget worth $1,000 that will be shipped to the winner. But already the first clues went live yesterday, and the guesses are pouring in.
And can people still join, Allan?
Oh yeah.
Moment.
Just under the circumstances, we're leaving registration open for several weeks. You can always catch up. And we just want to help parents right now. And what ends up happening generally, you know, the kids do all the work. They're obligated to do their academic work, but the family can get involved with the treasure hunt. And when there's a big prize, like a big golden nugget, mom and dads get involved. And so it kind of gives families something to think about together, or you can just turn your kid loose and say, go and figure it out. I've got to be working in the other room. And the kids have something self-directed and automatic that they can do to keep working on their goals during the quarantine.
That is amazing. It's so wonderful to meet people like you and your wife who are creating this these experiences for families around the world. And I love also the fact that, you know, you started by sharing how, you know, your travel background and your director and then her education. It's just the perfect melding, I think.
It's dangerous when we get together.
I see that. And I can't wait to have a glass of wine with you someday. So.
Yeah, we definitely do.
I'm curious about something, Allan. Is there a belief you had before you started all this about kids not being interested or not being that or whatever that is being challenged, and now you think differently about how kids react to this kind of elaborate games?
That's a great question. What's interesting is my wife has all of the research background, and she reads everything, and she writes books and travels and speaks, and she's very deep in the education world. And my experience with kids, you know, I volunteer coach some kids with YMCA, and I've been a scoutmaster, but really it's my own 5 kids. And I just kind of do the smell test, and I say, my kids, they're not going to want to do that. we have them be our own guinea pigs. And I'm like, I'm not going to be able to make him do that. Something has to change. I don't care what the research says. And most of the time the research is well beyond what I would be thinking. But in terms of any changed opinions, I just have a lot of observations. You know, we've been doing this for 6 years, and we've seen it kind of all over the map. We've seen kids that are really young, where parents are looking to turn them on to online learning. And it takes a little bit of hand-holding at first, and then they get really into it. And then kids that are older can just be completely autonomous. I've had parents write us and say, we love your program because it lets the kids do everything by themselves and they don't need to bug me. And I've had other parents say, I love your program because it requires us to be working together and solving together. And so we left it intentionally really open-ended. And we see that, I think it takes a while for kids to get used to that. But when they do, they love it. And the other thing, anytime you've got a $10,000 treasure, the stakes are pretty high.
Yeah.
And we've made this really hard. And some of the feedback we get is, you've got to make these treasure hunts easier. You've got to make the clues easier to solve. But I don't buy it. I think that once people get in it and when they actually figure stuff out, they have this epiphany and this aha moment. And we're trying to teach kids some grit and some self-direction. And that I think so often, and my own kids as well, and me as well, we want everything kind of given to us. And we have a very short attention span. If I can't solve this today, I'm done. And parents say over and over, this is a 6-week challenge. So they say, we gave up on it tonight. And then all night we were thinking about it. We had an idea the next morning and that wasn't it. And then the next day we got it, and then the payoff is so big. So some of those things, I would say, just don't be afraid to challenge kids and don't give it to them on day one. Let them chew on it. Let them have a big enough carrot or a prize at the end. They want to keep going. But that frustration that you might feel initially at not having everything laid out for you is going to pay off in a big way once you work through it.
Sounds great. Sounds such a cool game. Thank you so much.
Such a cool lifestyle, I think, in a way too. So
for us, it's my dream job. Yeah, it's animation, Dōjō rings, and exotic travel, and helping kids.
And families. I mean,
families. It's my dream. I would never want to do anything else.
That's incredible. And thank you for sharing that with us. Thank you for sharing that with the parents who are listening. We'll post the link to the registration, since you said that it's still open for a few weeks to come. And great. Yeah, I'm sure you'll get a lot more. Especially our 5 kids probably will be joining for sure.
Well, the only thing I would just say to everyone is try and turn things into a game. Try and make it fun. Kids don't like being nagged, and I hate nagging them. And if there are ways to give some small wins and some big wins, and just try and structure the things you want them to be doing, a lot of times they'll fall in and make it a game and make it very fun. And that's our challenge as parents and educators, to just try and gamify as much as we can.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Allan, for being so generous with your time and sharing this.
Thank you, Allan.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.